Franciscans, non-Franciscans that have decided to join us today, this wonderful talk on Laudato Si campaign. I welcome you warmly. I'm Stephen Kezamutima, Office of Justice and Peace and the Integrity of Creation, Franciscans Africa. I'm so glad to see you around, and thank you for making this choice. And I'm happy also that the speaker of today, Mr. Daniel KASISI, is already with us as the chairperson of GCCM Kenyan chapter. So I would like to invite you to really to be with us fully, to participate actively. We have a chat box that we'll be using. Feel free to introduce yourself. We need to know each other. Tell us where you are following from, and share some comments, keep the discussion live when the presenter of today will be presenting. And also I'd like to inform you that the talk of today is live on YouTube as usual. As you know, we have many friends out there who would love to listen what we've discussed today. So feel free to share the link that is already shared in chat box. You can put it in your status, can share in your WhatsApp groups or to friends, because this topic of Laudato Si is very interesting. And I know the presenter of today has prepared something very good and useful to us. And I would like to invite you also to mute your microphones in order to avoid some background noise. Only the presenter will be the one that we'll be listening to. When time will come after his presentation, we also allow you to speak, to unmute yourself. So thank you so much. And before we start, I would love to have an opening prayer. Maybe one of us here can say, maybe in the Zoom, in the group of Cecilia Neganjo, one of sisters can give us an opening prayer. One of you. Cecilia, are you able to unmute yourself? One of you give us an opening prayer. Then we'll introduce the speaker of today.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for the gift of the new day, the gift of the life, the gift of being with us in this morning. As we listen to you, and through this meeting, be our wisdom, be our understanding, and let us understanding you through our Franciscan spiritual way. I ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much, sister, for this wonderful opening prayer. You may not be Sister Cecilia, but I know you are using the username you are using. Yes. So we're very happy. And we now, I would like to ask Sister Mary, who are able to unmute yourself, you introduce the speaker of today.
Cecilia, unmute yourself, please.
Mary, are you able to speak? Right. Maybe she's struggling with technical problems, but she will join us on the way. I would like to introduce our speaker of today. I will say a few things about him. He's a good friend of mine, Mr. Daniel KASISI. He's currently the chairperson of the Global Catholic Climate Movement Kenyan chapter. So he's the right person to speak about Laudato Si campaign, because Laudato Si is one of the mandates of the Global Catholic Climate Movement. And GCCM has also worked with the Eco-Changers initiative before. I know he's still also part of it. So he's very passionate about environment. He's a really dedicated person on that. So today we are glad to host him in this talk of today. So he has prepared something nice to share with us. I invite you now to interact with him, listen to him, also have more questions to know about Laudato Si, because there is a lot to know about it. I know he has also some opportunities to share with us, like some courses offered, some international certificates, and a lot to benefit from Daniel KASISI. So Daniel, we welcome you warmly. Take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Steve, and apologies for the coarse voice. We understand that it's quite a cold weather, and it came. I'm happy that at least I can afford to speak. Thank you for the Franciscan fraternity for this honor. It comes once in a blue moon, and how good it is to share about the heart or the DNA of our current Pope Francis about the Laudato Si. So unless there's an issue of clarity from any one of you, I beg them to start sharing the screen into our sharing that I've prepared. Is anyone getting issues of clarity from my end?
Yeah, I think you can go on.
Thank you. So on the first slide, we have the Laudato Si campaign roadmap. That is how I thought it could be best described, because we have already heard of Laudato Si. We've had so many initiatives, and especially the Franciscans, who already, the charism of the foundress is anchored on environmental care. So this is just an extension of your charism. So, but we need a strategy for us to realize the goals that Pope Francis, the Vatican, under the dicastery of ecology and integral human development through Father Josh, that has forwarded. So this strategy will assist us to focus on realizing the 7 Laudato Si goals. But it is also important to realize that to look at the background of the Laudato Si goals. So they were institutionalized in 2015 when the document came out in 2015, this was a very special year because coincidentally, the world through the United Nations also presented the Sustainable Development Goals with 17 goals. Then on our side, through the church, that is our Pope Francis encyclical Laudato Si also was institutionalized during this time. And what is important, or what is common between these two important documents, is that they both struggle to end poverty, which is one of the goals, responding to the cry of the poor, and also having a sustainable world, so that this generation and the generations to come after can get a place to live that is nice, that can sustain their lives. And to address this, we need urgently a unified approach to attain this sustainable and environmental solidarity that is required. Otherwise, we can toil, do so much on our own, but until we come together, maybe the impact won't be felt. So I will go to the 7 Laudato Si goals for those who might have maybe who might not have gotten the opportunity to know them, or if you already know them, we can share something about it. That the first goal is a response to the cry of the earth. And I'll be combining this to talk about the overview of these same goals, that as we share the goals, how are we going to achieve this? And the overview helps us to plan well in our institutions at individual level to ensure that we discern, think about deeply the goals, and look at the most practicable solutions or the approaches to realize these goals. So to achieve these goals, we need, the first step is to undergo eco-conversion, which is quite a serious or a process. The process takes short for them to realize that actually we are interconnected with other creation. We are the stewards of God's creation, and others, it takes quite some time. But as we always say, we say God's time is always the best. So I'll look at the first response of the first goal, which is the response of the cry of the earth. So this focuses on how do we make our world a good place for the well-being of others, and equitably address the climate crisis, the biodiversity loss, and all these things to have the world a better place for us, or world to sustain us as part of the living creatures. So I'll talk of the suggestions because we already know this, but then now actualizing or putting this into action, how do we address the cry of the earth? So there are some suggestions here. The first one is that by ensuring that all our institutions, at least we install solar panels, or generally the green energy. I'm happy most of the institutions have already embracing this, led by the Vatican itself. So who are we not to follow the footsteps, and how easy will it be for the Franciscan fraternity, who already care for creation by nature of their charism to do this. Then we embrace insulating buildings so that we understand sometimes, especially during cold times, the buildings maybe if you don't insulate, it releases or it loses the heat quickly, and you are tempted to start using heaters in the house, which will heat up the world and contribute to the global warming. So to avoid this, we insulate our buildings. Buying renewable energy credits. For us, we've not started the credits, but then they're just emphasizing on the need to focus on investing in renewable energy. Then this maybe boggles my mind that how are we going to achieve this, because we have not prepared our young people who are these people going to do this installation for us. Maybe using our institutions, education institutions, and the young people through Laudato Si generations, can we empower those who are still in school and colleges to start learning and championing, pushing for clean energy technology courses, either in school levels, institutional levels, so that when you talk about solar panels, have somebody who can do it at a very affordable price. Then protecting biodiversity by planting native trees. I'm happy so many, in fact, one of the most influential person in the Franciscans that I knew first was Father Herman Borg. And I'm happy he's among, maybe he's the only guy on the internet who goes with the word Babamiti. So what he's doing is in line with the second point of listening or responding to the cry of the earth. Then there's this bit of regenerative agriculture, that we know that our soils now are leached. There are no nutrients. Can we have plant things that can regenerate those nutrients that are required by the soils? And that begs us to go back to something called the organic farming. So can we stay So I was we were talking about embracing, staying true to what we say and what we Okay, thank you. We've gotten a remedy to the hiccups that you are experiencing with the network. So we resume, we pick from where we were, and we were talking about and we were sharing on the response, on how we can respond to the cry of the earth. And I was appealing that we have, because of time and for the reasons to finish this, we have a soft copy for the same we can share later. This information is still found on the Vatican internet platform, but I just gathered it for the purposes of making it easier, since my work is full-time, knowing what is happening around Laudato's implementation. So that is about the cry of the earth. Then how do we go to the second the second goal is response to the cry of the poor. How do we respond to the cry of the poor? There are suggestions on how to do this. So you pick one, or if you can, all of them that can best suit you, to ensure that we have decent life. We know that in Laudato Si encyclical, the Pope passionately addresses the issue and is concerned about the poor quality of human life that we're experiencing because of the degraded ecological state. And if we can address this, protecting all life through educational events, which that means we can organize some events, then educate people on we educate people on then we can have delivering wash services by ensuring access to clean water, training community members in hygiene practices, and ensuring diverse community members plan wash projects. I'm happy I've seen through Laudato Si Generation, led by our brother Steve Kazemtima, one of the photos I saw with Father Haman, they were in a certain slum, an informal setup, trying to interact and supporting this disadvantaged part of our community. And the part of it, I know in our areas or in our institutions, we have plenty of water. Sometimes we can maybe struggle to have a day where we cut down on the water use, and the little we spare, you can pack them in the jerry cans and take them to these same people. It can also be a good thing. Then promoting and protecting indigenous leadership by ensuring indigenous communities have the rights to their land, and by elevating indigenous leadership. This one, we cannot do it alone as institutions. We leverage on the solid structures of our church, the Catholic Church, and the powerful voice that we have in our land, that when we have a voice and we write, maybe know that there is a certain right of land for some people that is being infringed. This is a very sensitive matter. So if we can have amongst us those people who know about the rights issue, the legal matters, then through our solid structures, through the KCCB, we can forward this petition, and you can be sure something will be done about it, because this touches on even the leaders. And part of the ingredients of these rights for being infringed is the greed and the corruption that's already existing, and so rampant it is in Kenya that I had a friend who wanted to send me some upkeep something from Canada, and the Western Union people had to put in a lot of controls, especially because it was being sent to Kenya. So you can imagine the kind of name we are making for ourselves. So then we have delivering access to land and clean air. So generally, all this addresses issues of how to better the quality for somebody to live well, and maybe they don't have the power, the capacity, the financial muscles. How can we as Franciscans, as Laudato Si ambassadors, ensure that these people live a decent life? Then we have the third goal, which is ecological economics. Ecological economics focuses on how do we invest? How do we do our investment? Do we invest in things that will mess our environment and again compromise? Sorry. And again compromise so the sorry. So how the Vatican is particularly petitioning and campaigning against fossil fuels, which are the main cause of global warming. And the people how do we contribute to this? The kind of vehicles we use. If it is, now we have the electric cars, we have the electric motorbikes. Is it possible to start embracing using such things? In Kenya, we've had Turkana. There is in Turkana there is an oil extraction activity that is going on. Have we taken the step to look at, are we just focusing on the profits, or are we taking the step to look at the effect of this thing to the environs, the poor people who are not seeing what our leaders are seeing, so that we have a better place? So this comes to, in terms of that can we always put in mind environmental issues whenever we are investing, not just as an institution, but also at individual level. The next goal is adoption of sustainable lifestyles. So sustainable lifestyles, there are those that are very basic and there are those that are complicated. I personally refused to use, we have things called the 3 R's, reuse, reduce, recycle. We have added now some R's to make it 7, so that you add refuse, you add rethink, you add refill, and repair. How many of us can repair something that is spoiled, or we are quick to say because we have the financial muscles, we can go and buy a new item? How many of us can rethink that before I use a straw to take a soda, can I just take the soda directly and avoid using straws? During receptions and our weddings and our ceremonies, how many people struggle to find the alternative of plastic water? Fortunately or unfortunately, some of our institutions are even producing, selling the water that is plastic water. You see, we are also promoting indirectly. So how do we then counter as much to balance livelihood of our institutions and livelihood of the earth to make it sustainable. It is quite challenging. Now, if we look at the trees or the seedlings, the pockets are always polythene, which is still a bad thing to our environment. The NEMA has introduced some other pockets that are environmentally friendly, but do we even factor in that? So there are things that we can do. Can you use instead of using personal vehicle, can we use public transport? So changing our lifestyles so that anything we do or anything we use is that can promote ecological integrity. Then the next goal is ecological education. Ecological education is about rethinking and redesigning our curricula, which is also quite hard because to redesign a curricula, it can take years. Laudato Si platform has set a 7-year journey, or the Vatican has set that. If we think of redesigning, sometimes it will be impossible to achieve this within this time. Through Father Haman, we knew we are partnered with the Kenya Organization of Environmental Education, who have already have a structured book that can be used in our institutions. You can read it for your own consumption. I have a copy, and we can organize on how we can do this, because I've seen we have like Laudato Si Generation, which has already introduced Laudato Si clubs in some schools. But the challenge is they might be lacking that structured book that can be uniformly used across all the Laudato Si schools which they are visiting. And to achieve this, we can ride on the shoulders of already existing organizations that are championing ecological education. So when we do this, as we slowly pursue to influence the curriculum developers, then we can achieve this. So let's promote ecological education, whether formal or informal. Where you are, educate somebody. Tell a friend to tell a friend about environmental issues. Let's champion to get talk time on some TV stations, talk about it. We are now pushing to get some talk time on Citizen TV to elevate, to highlight the role of the faith-based educations led by the Catholic Church, with Laudato Si as our reference book. We go to ecological spirituality. So this mostly touches on the religious men and women. On 9th of July, the other week, we were invited at Utawala to attend a CJPC organized Laudato Si event of planting trees and distributing. And Father Emmanuel Ngugi gave a sermon that could actually touch you. Everything was just grounded on an environment care, stewardship. And if we all embrace that as we prepare our homilies, as we prepare our sharings, in our gatherings, as we do our prayers, can we include such the ecological spirituality? We already have existing platforms. Laudato Si Week, which is always between every year. We have the season of creation, which is now coming, starting on 1st of September. Then it ends on 4th of October. What a joy that it ends on the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. So we can decide and say, as Laudato Si family, from different organizations. We can organize a big event on that day to have the eco-spirituality, to address the eco-spirituality goal. Then we have the community engagement and participatory action. So this requires advocating for social, ecological causes. So we can't, somebody said, if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. But if you want to go far, walk with people, walk with your community, in terms of your family, in terms of your the parish, in terms of your institution, in terms of our dioceses, in terms of our Episcopal Conference and the nation at large. And these, the organizations, community-based organizations, NGOs addressing this, find something to chip into them so that they know about this. So when we finish this will be okay. Those are our 7 Laudato Si goals. So the institutions that are targeted, or the sectors that are targeted by the Vatican, we have the families, we have the parishes, we have the education institutions, we have the healthcare institutions, we have organizations and groups, economic sector, and religious sector. We all belong to this either directly or indirectly. Definition of a family depends on how you want it to be. Otherwise, this is one big family, but categorized in other. But this one, I think they are meaning the basic family. So because of time, to give some time for questions, maybe I'll just quickly, there is this, I don't know if you have come across this, the Vatican has even suggested prayers for this particular sectors targeted. There's a prayer for parishes, for environmental themes. How can we use our resources and maybe produce this the way we have produced Apostles' Creed? Can we also have this? And we influence the Episcopal Conference, even if it is just on the season, on the day of St. Francis of Assisi, that Sunday, can all the churches in Kenya leave this other, maybe prayer, or they add this prayer to this? So there's a prayer for the family, there's a prayer for the hospitals, there's a prayer for the schools and everything. Then as I conclude, GCCM is not supposed to be a rival organization. It is just an umbrella that is bringing all families, Laudato Si players, so that we bring all the roles that we are playing. We have for the youth, I know now we we talk with the brother Steve Kazemtima and Alan Ataro of Sainesa, very established youth organizations. When you talk about the children, he has mentioned about Eco Changers Initiative. We have Kenya Organization of Environmental Education. When we talk about the adults, then we have sisters amongst us, we have brothers amongst us who are passionate about animating others. So together, we are almost finalizing. I shared this with Sister Mary some times back, and it is not easy. It is quite frustrating, but I'm happy that when you toil and seek the Lord for your guidance and be guided by His Spirit, things will always work. It might take long. I started the journey on 15th of March, visiting Bishop Obala. Through him, we trained all the CJPC coordinators in the whole country on Laudato Si. We are now engaging the General Secretary. We were actually to launch the 7-year Laudato Si journey in Kenya with him in Cathedral, Ngong Cathedral. You can imagine you have gone to meet the bishop, you tell him, please come and bless our function. And he tells you, this is a very serious thing. I want to take it myself. I want to host it, make it big so that Kenya and the world can know that the Kenya Catholic Church is leading in turning Laudato Si into action through the 7-year Laudato Si journey. What a joy. And when he referred us to Beatrice, the CJPC coordinator, the national, and to work together, Beatrice was a bit confused, which was good. That is this now a diocese event or is it a national event? If it is a national event, then we must involve the KCCB. So we are finalizing on that. Then is Isaiah, can see your hand. Kindly let me just quickly finish up, then we can address them. The next one on just this week, I had a Zoom meeting where Father Josh from the Vatican was speaking and Father Jermaine from SECAM on what are the implications of the Laudato Si Action platform in the African Church. And we all agreed that unless the Episcopal conferences take up this issue, we can always think it is hard, but once they take it, it will become as easy as A, B, C, D. But then on our side, those who are already on environmental things, let's visit the Laudato Si wall, registration to become animators. The next training for the Laudato Si animators training will be beginning on 28th of this month. For those who are interested, kindly mark the calendar, because it is through it that when I speak, sometimes people think I did something in the environment, but I'm only copying what I see in the books and the Vatican platform. Then number 2, again, there is a petition from the Vatican for a healthy planet, healthy people. It is the Pope. They want to give this to the COP26 summit that will be coming in November. So please check out on that. We'll be sending a link on your platform so that you can do the petition. So I'm a teacher by profession, a primary teacher. I come from western part of Kenya. Combined, we can speak the whole day. I beg to stop at that. And Isaiah, we can start. I saw your hand. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have much to I don't have much to say. Just thank everybody for the invitation. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for this wonderful presentation. Really appreciate and like the way previously some speakers, they have also talked about Laudato Si, but as I said from beginning, Laudato Si, it's not just one page, it's not just one activity, it's not just one story. So there is a lot to say about Laudato Si. So I like the way you've brought it in a different way, like even me, who have been in that Laudato Si program. I also, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I have also learned. I have also learned a lot. It seems that my internet is gone. Hello?
in the office down, it's blocking.
We're getting you.
Come down into the office.
We are.
Hello, you hear me now? Okay, hello, now you hear me?
We can hear you well.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, yes, Mr. Daniel Kasisi, starting by mentioning that Laudato Si is the heart and the DNA of Pope Francis. I love this statement. And yeah, I know people are eager to know more. They have many questions. And also, thank you for choosing, developing these goals, these 7 goals of Laudato Si, also connecting us to like all stakeholders that you've mentioned at the individual level, families, the church, institutions, organization, yeah, religious communities, just to mention that nobody's is supposed to remain behind. We are all concerned about this environmental justice. And I know when people will go deep into Laudato Si, you will learn that everything is connected. That is another key message from Pope Francis. So regardless the title you have, where you work, who you are, yes, nobody should really keep quiet, because these environmental issues, as you've seen, that Pope Francis connects the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. Issues of justice, social justice, peace comes in, poverty, the sustainable development goals that we've been talking about, you will find it also connected to this. So in every step of life you do, we just encounter the message of Laudato Si in a way. It just requires somebody to get into it and get to know what is it. So in the chat box, I appreciate people who have been making comments, introducing them. And I also appreciate some people who are out of Kenya, in Namibia, in Uganda. Yeah, it's wonderful to see how we are also connected through this loud dialogue of Laudato Si. So we've shared some links that I would love you to pick as we continue this dialogue. The first link is about the petition that Mr. Daniel Kasisi has already talked about, and this petition was shared from Vatican, that as people who love Laudato Si, Christian, Catholics, even non-Catholics, just sign this petition in order to support, to amplify our voice, to influence our leaders, because the COP26 that we are talking about, maybe some of us are not aware about this. These are state members who go at a global level and they meet and they decide, like the Paris Agreement, or make some agreement on the way forward, on how in our countries issues of environment should be taken into consideration, how they should invest in reducing these issues of global warming, issues of pollution in the countries, all these things that we are talking about related to environmental injustice. So for, you know, even young people, start a movement started by Greta Thunberg in Sweden, and they came to the whole world, the global Catholic, the global climate move, the global climate strike that started around the world, was started by youth. And this is to make noise, to call leaders in our countries, yeah, to really take some important measures to solve issues of climate injustice, to take right policy, environmental policies, decision, to decide the climate emergency, So all this, but leaders you find mostly are not willing or are not doing much, or they are just only making promise but don't honor their promises. So that is why it is important to sign in such petition so that our voice go through this, and then they will meet our voice in those global platform, in the summits, in the COP26. All right, another link that we have shared is the Laudato Si training animators. It is also an online course offered by the Global Catholic Climate Movements, and it is free. And we encourage all members here, Franciscan, non-Franciscans, religious people, take this online course. They offer a nice certificate signed from Vatican. And once you get these certificates, you get also equipped, you have skills, you have platform, you have some network and the connections. Then you are able to champion this Laudato Si. You have skills and the knowledge and the words to speak in like the way you see KASISI when he was speaking to us. Is like he's the one who wrote this Laudato Si. So it is beautiful when you have the content, when you have the message, when you know the practical part of it, then you are able to go to the field. When you are going to, most of you, I know you are in the areas, in the communities, in the parishes, maybe you are in schools, you have children, you have youth. What can you tell them to do? So you must have all this knowledge. So pick the link also, register. It is just a simple course that people do once per week. It goes for 6 weeks. I know KASISI, I've seen also in this platform, there is a Linda Macau, another staff from the Global Catholic Climate Movement, African chapter. She can also tell us maybe when it will start, so that you guys register and you know the program. It just goes 6 weeks, once per week, like 2 hours. You've heard Daniel KASISI talking about people like Father George from Vatican. These are big experts who have interacted with Pope Francis. People can tell you about this DNA of Pope Francis, the Laudato Si. So you get a chance to meet all these people in the platform at global level. So thank you so much, KASISI. Now I open this discussion. You are allowed to unmute yourself, make comment, appreciate the presentation of Daniel KASISI, also ask some questions. Thank you so much and welcome. The floor is open now. I can see in the chat box, Linda has already said that's the next session of this Laudato Si training animators will start end of this month. So people should pick this link and they register. Pick it from that number. You can chat with me and get it. And mute your mic now and speak. You are allowed.
My dear brothers and sisters, anybody else want to say something? I can say a few words. Stephen, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Father.
Okay. Now, it's already a long history with the Laudato Si encyclica. Just now, when we had this big meeting with our General Secretary of the Episcopal Conference, I had the chance to give input on our history. I have a personal history to this. When there was the environmental conference, of the UN in January 2007 in Gigiri, in their compound with 6,000 participants from all over the world. So some Catholics came together. We were a group of 20, guided even the presence of, we appreciate the presence of the nuncio, and there was a high-ranking lecturer of the Merinol Fathers and the Kiltegen Fathers, and there was came up the idea we need a special concerned guidance from the Catholic Church concerning environment. So it came up, we need an encyclica. January 2007, Gigiri, Kenya, Nairobi. This date seems to myself very fundamental, specific concerning the creation of this encyclica. And after we have signed all these, my name is also in there in this document sent via Nuncio to the Vatican. My name is also in the signatory, among the signatories of this letter, to apply, to appeal, to search, ask for a Catholic authorized encyclica. And after 8 years, it came in 2015. So I feel this is our obligation. This is a bit, I cannot avoid, move away from it. My heart has to go the next step and the next steps and to plan. So, and the secretary of the Episcopal Conference, Father Ferdinand, was very willing and said, this should become a common natural Kenyan emphasis together with the politics, together with the government, together with the UN, together with all other stakeholders who are so far have involved themselves in environmental activities. So give you a bit of background where we are. There is a common concern. 6,000 people came together in the environmental conference in UN to reflect and to report on the disaster of this, our globe, already 14 years ago. And now where we are, the disasters are coming. We have floods, we have droughts, we have more appearing irregularities in the appearance of nature, in the appearance of seasons. The world is not anymore in God's hands. It's taken out of his hands and given into which hands it should be in our hands. We should be the ones to take care. So these 7 points are now the points to implement, to care for, to solve, and to bring the level of harm, the level of disaster, the level of damage, to lower it, bring it further down. So thank you so much, Daniel, for all the explanations and for all your efforts. And the efforts, it's done by all the leaders of Catholic climate movement around the world, global Catholic climate movement. I have joined them. I will be a member of the next to really to get to the details of Laudato Si, of the intention of Holy Father, intention of the Catholic Church, to learn to handle the 7 points strategically best. So that are my commentaries to this, to give you some input where we Franciscans are. And now the Franciscan orientated encyclica Laudato Si is here in our hands, in the hands of the Church, and given to every Christian, to every person in the world. Let us keep it.
Thank you so much, Father, for the beautiful remarks. Yeah, Franciscans have no excuse, in fact, to champion the Laudato Si, because Pope Francis got inspired from the Canticle of St. Francis of Assisi. So he should be the one. But also everyone is not supposed to remain behind, because this earth, as Pope Francis called it, our common home. So it's our common home. To take care about our common home, it is our mandate all. All right. Welcome.
Yeah, still, so this is the starting point today to get some fundamental basic introductions into this topic. we will be accompanied regularly about the procedures, how will the response of our Episcopal Conference in Kenya be there, and in the togetherness with a great date will be placed, maybe October, maybe November, when government, church, and all churches and all people of goodwill join together to implement, to dedicate, commit themselves. All authorities of church leaders, government leaders will commit themselves to implement definitely for 7 years these 7 points and the strategies and the orientation of Laudato Si for the benefit of Kenya, most likely whole of Africa and whole of the world. We Kenyans, Kenya can become a model for the implementation of the encyclica Laudato Si for the world.
Thank you so much, Father.
Steve,
Yes, sister.
I don't know, maybe we need at this juncture. Maybe at this juncture, we need to think about the petition.
Sister, your machine, something wrong, but
Come here.
Hello?
okay. So right now it's all
I'm
right.
saying we need to think about the petition, not as a group, but as a Franciscan actually, so that if we are able to sign it as Franciscan family here in Kenya and other places, that will be also a mileage for ourselves. Because if we remember the story that Herman has already given us of the origin of this Laudato Si, despite of GCCM, I think the Franciscan family has been in the front line. I remember the moment this book came out, our office was the first one to organize the reception of Laudato Si encyclical in Catholic University of Eastern Africa. And that which we organized carried so many non-Franciscans and Franciscan too. So maybe we need to think around the issues of how we come together and sign the petition as Franciscan and as friends of Franciscan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Mary. We really recognize that special role of the Office of Justice, Peace and Integrity of Creation, Franciscans Africa. Yeah, people should know that when this encyclical came in Kenya, this was the first office in partnership with the Center for Social Justice and Ethics, at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, in July 21st, 2015. The same year that the Laudato Si came. So, sister, congratulations, and we appreciate the work that the office has done together with the Catholic University, and I'm sure here there are people also who have done something, but it's a long journey. We invite you also to share something I know from different parts of Africa where you are. I would love also to recognize the presence of Engineer Eric Ngondi. He's here with us. He's from NEMA. And if also he could tell us something, this is also senior staff that has been working together with also KASISI on inclusivity and other things on this. Karibu, Eric. Sister, was saying something?
Yes, I wanted to say that the FFM sister in Indonesia has also made a very beautiful song on Laudato Si, which is on Facebook. So we needed to tap all these efforts so that we put them together.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah, would be nice to hear word from Nema, from Eric Karibu, friend of KASISI. Welcome.
Good morning, team. Good morning, friends. This is Eric Ngondi. Sorry, I'm up and about in things, so I may not be able to maybe to say, but I'll just say something. First of all, this is a great movement, a great initiative. I joined Laudato Si Kenya last year, is when I took the course, and it impacted me a lot, especially as a person who's been who studied environment and also working in an environment sector. I thought this was a great addition to my skills and knowledge, because it brings in the perspective of, you know, our Christian life, our Christian values, and then impacting, bringing it together with the job that I do, the work that I do in the environment sector. So I must say that it was an additional and important thing in my life, and I thank KASISI and the team for, you know, bringing up to speed. And thank you all for being here. And I'll look forward to many of us joining and participating. And as the late Professor Wangare Maathai will say, every little thing that you do counts, yeah, especially to our environment. So thank you all, and thank you for the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Eric. God bless you too. This was also a wonderful remark from you. So, sisters, let us hear from at least one of you, and then we will give the mic back to our speaker of today to make some final remarks.
Stephen, before we close, I could think in this context of our Zooming on Saturday morning, and to widen the horizon, one Saturday a month we could reserve for this topic, environment, Laudato Si implementation. That comes just into my mind. We can reflect and can offer this. Yet almost each week, each day, it's a new horizon, it's a new aspect coming up, and we could refer to this, and even the number of members interested in implementation of Laudato Si will increase, so that we build up a real circle, a real unified and a platform of fraternal, sisterly, brotherly sharing, invitations, and updating. Month for month, we have to be updated, listening to one another, listening to newcomers, listening to the steps of development. So that is my proposal. One Saturday a month is just the topic. It's you.
Thank you so much, Father. Thank you for this. Yes, one more comment.
Steve, I can see Professor Vidal.
Yes, yes. We hear from Sister Clara, then also Professor will greet us.
Good morning, everybody. We are from
Morning,
Namibia.
sister.
We are from Namibia, and it's the first
Welcome.
time that we are joining you, as we are also Franciscan sisters in Namibia. I am very grateful, and especially thanks is going to Father Herma, who invited us to be together with you. I think from now on, part of our sisters will be participate in your program, because we see also that Laudato Si is very important as we are dealing with the schools and families around us as pastoral sisters, where we can also reach out this message to them. Therefore, I'm very grateful together with my sisters, Josie, Cecilia, Josie, Elizabeth, Josie, Bernadette, Josie, Emerenciana, all those is from Namibia who want to join you. And I hope it will be strengthened, the Laudato Si in Namibia. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you. We are so grateful.
So,
yeah, and we will love to keep in touch on this. I've shared inbox that more we can engage more on this. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Hello. Professor, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello,
I
Prof.
would like to thank you very much for the invitation to attend. I would like to thank the presenters and the commentators. I think this is a very, very, very important idea which should, in which everybody should participate. Actually, when you look at the reaction, the responses, say the first one, response to the cry of the yes, response to the cry of the poor. These are the responses on responses. The earth, the cry of the earth is a response to the attack on the earth. The people have been so mercilessly mismanaging the earth, the environment, that it cries. So we are talking about responding to the cry of the earth, but the cry of the earth is a response to our irresponsibility. Similarly, we talk about the response to the cry of the poor. Why is there poverty? Poverty, again, is a response to the exploitation of some people by other people. So if we have to protect ourselves, our common heritage, our common earth, our common home, I don't think we need to beg anyone to join us. Everybody must participate, because the protection of the environment is our own protection. So nobody should opt out. Everybody must be involved. That's my comment.
Thank you so much, Prof. This is a real powerful comment, and the people should know sometime when they are taking action on care for environment, they say like we are saving environment, but they never think that we are saving ourselves, because later the environment can get time to recover, but people will die and they will not come back. So this is really powerful comment. We appreciate so much, Prof. Yes, I heard there was the last comment. because we still have 4 minutes to close this. Maybe from the Zoom of Sister Elizabeth, somebody also can say something then, or from the Zoom of Sister Bernadette. It is wonderful to share this dialogue.
Oh. Kaketo.
Yes, brothers and sisters. Yes, Kaketo happens to be in the neighborhood. This topic is really on my heart. Brother Haman had started a project of tree planting, and it's been going on for years. One time I was contemplating what it would take, for example, if each congregation, you know, we have up to 38 or so congregations, at least in Kenya, that identify with the Franciscan charism. If each congregation allocated just 1 acre to trees and grown in honor of Laudato Si, that would be at least 37 acres planted. Do that over a year, 2, 3, you would steadily be able to point to a specific kind of trees planted specifically in respect of Laudato Si. And if we insist on the diversity necessary in these forests, I'm thinking of indigenous trees planted purposefully for this intention, all fruit trees planted purposely for this reason, you would be surprised at how consistent an impact would be. Imagine a situation where there is a relationship of consumption between sisters who are in the rural areas or in farming places and consistently supplying the sisters in urban centers. A direct connection between those producing food organically and those consuming organic food, with a direct connection without middle persons. We will cut down on the energy being used. We will guarantee healthy lifestyles. And we, as a community of Franciscans, would have our own economic and ecosystem, which then can spread to other communities and church setups. When you read Laudato Si well, as connected to Caritas in Veritate of Benedict XVI, there seems to be an emphasis on ethical and critical consumption. What am I eating? Where is it coming from? How is it grown? How does it get to the table? In that way, we become conscious consumers, critical consumers, that by the choice of what we put on our table, we then contribute to improving the lives of the poor. We then contribute to the protection of the environment. So thank you very much, Stephen, for giving me the opportunity to share. But it might be good that we begin thinking in a corporate manner and guiding how we choose to consume, how we choose to spend the money we choose to spend, consistent with the call of Laudato Si. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. This is another really powerful contribution from Mr. Richard Kaketo. This is really a great thing. Not only that we've learned, but also we've gained practical ways. Like from here, we know, like, we can go out there and start to have something that we can do, isn't it? So thank you so much, Richard, for this. If not, if we have no more comment, I would love to invite Mr. Daniel KASISI. Give the final remarks. Then we end this, the blessing of Father Haman.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Sister Mary, Father Haman, and the whole Franciscan fraternity. I also recognize, I didn't know that the machine was not insisting that we have a prof amongst us. It is good to also acknowledge that, and Engineer Eric and all other participants who are equally important. So I will not, we can't exhaust this, but maybe we'll just say what one does not know does not exist. Unless we tell people about Laudato Si and leave Laudato Si, people won't know about it. So let us keep the fire going. Let us assist each other. Let us complement each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel KASISI. It was a great pleasure to have you with us today. I'm sure everybody here are inspired, have learned a lot. For more engagements, I have shared my email, my WhatsApp number. You can friend to KASISI, also work together hand in hand with the Global Catholic Climate Movement, African chapter, Kenyan chapter, and globally. So I will be able to share with you all important resources required or to connect you to get any answer on the question you would have on this. Otherwise, we are so grateful. We appreciate the participation from all over Africa, from Namibia, from Kenya, from Uganda. Engineer Eric being with us, Professor Ernest Bearaza, thank you so much for joining. Mr. Richard Kaketo, also much appreciation. We appreciate also Mr. James Katuku. Maybe you are not in a good position today to speak, but you are also a great anchor to us in this program. Father Haman, thank you for facilitating everything. All sisters, be blessed. It's a great joy to have you with us. People who are in the, who have signed in the Gazette of Sister Bernadette, Sister Elizabeth, Clara, Sister Cecilia, Ruth, Josephine, Sister Madison, you have been with us, Nancy, Chepkopus, yes, and everyone, people who are also following, as I told you, it is live on YouTube. People who are on YouTube, we are very grateful. You can keep comments live. You can also, when you come on YouTube, you can also make more comments. You can ask more questions. We keep the discussion live, and we meet next Saturday. I know through those, if it is your first time, maybe also get my WhatsApp number here in the chat box so that you email me your email. I can be able to be sending or invitation or notification or any information or any opportunity also. That is why we are here. We are connected. We are one family. It's good that we share even opportunities when they are there. So thank you so much. And Sister Mary, Mary Wangar Sebastian, we appreciate so much also for hosting this. We appreciate in a special way the person behind the technical parts who have signed in as JPIC FA media team. His name is Jean-Marie Vianney. Thank you so much for helping us technically. And we're looking forward to meeting you also next time. And at this juncture, I would love to invite Father Haman to give us final blessing, and we call it a day.
Lord, we thank you for guiding us, bringing us together this way via Zooming, to watch one another, to look at one another, to listen to one another, and get inspired by one another, by your inspiration from above. And we are sure that you want to use the Catholic Church, the Franciscan entities, Franciscan charism, and even the name of Francis of Assisi himself, St. Anthony, St. Bonaventure, all are on this line to support you and to bring your intention to the realization in humanity. The Lord be with you.
Your spirit.
May the Almighty God bless us, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Let us depart in the peace of our Lord.
Be to God.
Be mood or unmood. Nice Saturday, nice weekend. Greetings home to your brothers, sisters, relatives, friends, community members, wherever you go. God bless us, each one of us. We are ready to continue to live, to serve, to adore, to admire, to accomplish, and to encourage. Through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, family.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you.
A beautiful weekend.